Hi, my name is Wesley, and in addition to making all of the recipes on this channel that you're watching right now, for the last about 4 years or so, I have also been running a kitchen in a 10x10 easy up tent, making wok fried rice and Taiwanese small bites with no power, no running water, no refrigeration, and an entire kitchen powered by propane and soft shell coolers. During this time, I have also broken 6 of those tents, snapped about 30 of those woks in half, and generally have perfected the art of running a kitchen and a campsite at the same time. In about a month or so, we'll also be transitioning that pop-up into our very first brick and mortar space inside of the Prescott Market Food Hall here in Oakland, so I thought I'd take a second and talk a little bit about what all of this has been like. So here it is. These are the top 5 things that I've learned in the last decade running a pop-up restaurant for a living. Number 5, footwear can make or break your whole day in this industry. This is already very true with service work in general, but y'all so much more critical doing pop-up work. Let's start with the basics. Obviously, if you are going to be cooking all day, you're also going to be standing on your feet for very long stints of time, so you need to be wearing footwear that's comfortable. I think anybody that has worked in the restaurant industry will probably already tell you that. But what I don't see anyone ever talking about actually is that when you're doing pop-up work more specifically, you're obviously not going to be working in a kitchen, which means that oftentimes you'll find yourself standing in the middle of the street or an abandoned airstrip or in the middle of the frickin' forest. This means that the footwear that you're wearing has to not only be equipped for standing for very long periods of time like you would in a kitchen, but also needs to be comfortable for just about every kind of terrain that you can possibly imagine. I can't tell you how many times I've rolled my ankle on loose asphalt or sprinting through downtown carrying a register box full of cash. The go-to that I've always settled into are the closed-toed Crocs, but I know everyone's footwear needs are a little bit different. What I can tell you is that a lot of workwear shoes are pretty pricey. I'm looking at you, Dansko and Birkenstocks. It is a worthwhile investment though to find something that works for you, trust me. Number 4, checklists for everything. Write it down and use them before you leave for the event. I can't tell you how many times I've pulled up to an event and gotten halfway through unloading the truck before realizing that I've forgotten something very small but very, very critical, then had to frantically make phone calls to get somebody to bring me something. Spatulas, cookware, propane, servingware. One time I actually forgot the wok itself. The list kind of just goes on. In a kitchen, documentation is already a very essential part of any workflow really, but in a pop-up kitchen, everything that you need to run your lunch service has to be in the truck when you leave the house, so it is so much more critical to write down what you need so you don't forget it. I don't care how good your memory is, trust me, you will forget something eventually and it will absolutely be critical, so write it down. Number 3, imposter syndrome is a very, very real thing in this industry, and that is because, especially in 2025, the eating experience happens on a universal plane. At various times, you will see people talking about what they had at a Michelin star restaurant and the burger that they had at the farmer's market in the same breath. Most, if not all of the time, you're gonna feel like you have absolutely no right or credibility to be doing the things that you're doing because you're surrounded by legitimately dope as chefs that you respect the hell out of, and well, you're in a goddamn tent. All around you, it's gonna feel like everyone's making some dope that is way cooler than whatever it is that you're making. Y'all ignore this feeling with every ounce that your body will allow. Remember, you don't need to be the best chef or the best cook in every single room that you're standing in. You just need to be the best at what you're creating, and that can be very, very specific. I don't think that I'm necessarily the best wok cook or chef in every single category, but I do think that I probably know more about the specific group of dishes that I make than most folks do. I can say with confidence that I probably know more specifically about making kimchi fried rice than most chefs do. Not everything, just fried rice specifically. And that is because I guarantee you I have made more kimchi fried rice than most humans have in their entire life. Just focus on creating the best version of the thing that you are creating, not on what everybody else is making. This, of course, brings me to number 2. There is also never a point where you're going to stop learning things. It really doesn't matter what you're making. In this industry, there's always going to be room to learn something new and improve. And that's because there are a million different ways to do even the simplest kitchen tasks. This is going to feel obvious when you're working with a chef or a cook that clearly has more experience and expertise than you do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't learn something new from the dishie that works with you in the dish room, too. Why? Well, because they've probably cleaned more sheet trays than you have in your entire lifetime and know more about how to scrub bacon fat off of a tray than you do. Be open to knowledge anytime it is freely offered, and never stop learning or adapting. Number one, and this is maybe the most important thing that I want to talk about today, there are going to be days where you just want to quit. It's not easy work. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. The hours are long, the work is tough, and oftentimes frustrating and thankless. It doesn't matter how good your food is, there will absolutely be days that just completely flop and you do 10 covers in a 6-hour service and one of them leaves a bad Yelp review because their kid thought it was too spicy. I know I have absolutely had moments where I just felt completely overwhelmed and out of my depth. I'm not going to tell you to buckle down or push through it, tough it out, because I honestly hate when people say this. It's just so dismissive and meaningless. What I will say is that overwhelming feeling that you're feeling is completely normal and absolutely an acceptable thing to feel. And while yes, it might mean that you have failed in this specific instance, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a failure. Just like everything else, it's just another opportunity to learn and grow. See lesson number 2. And if you fail enough times, you'll end up with something really great. Okay, that's all. Pass this on to the next person that you think that needs to hear this.